Well, hello and welcome to episode number 403 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. In this week's packed show, BA pilots suffer from neck ache, one airport ditches its no liquids rule, and one airline's passengers are unable to get off their plane. Are they still on board? Find out later. In the military, we look at a couple of mishaps in Italy and Taiwan. A Russian Su-25 takes a lickin and keeps on tickin, and the US Marines hold a massive exercise on the US West Coast. So joining me this week across the village in the glorious Suffolk, Waveney Valley area, it is, of course, Matt Smith.
I mean, I don't know about that. It's glorious. Mind you, today, the weather. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my word. It has been like one of my friends put on his Instagram profile today, summer is here.
Yeah, well, spring, I think. Let's not go too crazy.
I was
spring
say,
is
a bit
here,
premature.
Absolutely.
But no, it's been a lovely day today. It's been really nice. Especially when you're driving up and down the 143 all day.
Well, yes,
anyway,
absolutely.
Yes.
You like a hobby.
I know. And joining us across the fields, the glens, the rivers, the lakes, and the sprawling Buckinghamshire countryside, it is, of course, Neville Bounds.
Yes, and I had a treat over to the Suffolk region and the Norfolk region this week. And my car got covered in the Sahara sand as well.
Oh, yes.
But I'm not blaming that entirely on you guys.
Oh, thanks.
But, no, it was good to see you guys on Wednesday, wasn't it? We had some.
It was, yeah.
Dinner at the Fleece.
We couldn't go. Like I say, we couldn't go to our usual haunt because Chan's is now only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, isn't it? But so we went to a new venue, and actually, yeah, they did us all right, didn't they?
Nice place, very good. Yep,
yeah.
Very much enjoyed that, and excellent. So it's good to see you.
We missed our fourth amazing host of the show. He couldn't join us for our little food and drink outing on Wednesday, but he is here with us this week, and it's always good to see him back with us on the show every week. And this week, it's safe to say that our show art, or the artwork you see on the YouTube feed, features Armando.
Hey guys, and now if anybody can tell me where that is not photoshopped, it is an actual picture. And nothing in that picture has been modified, as in the airplane has not been modified from my general orientation. So how did that happen? Anyway, here I am, as Jeff says, Studio 325 at an undisclosed hotel in an undisclosed city in Florida, which is a hint to how the show art came.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very clever. Yeah.
We do have a story on it later.
So how's flying going, Armando? Have you been able to jump in the Pilatus recently?
Yep, I'm actually on a charter trip right now. We brought some folks down to Central Florida. They were nice enough to host us for the couple days that they were down here golfing. So me and my co-pilot are here in a hotel, and we just get to enjoy the beautiful, sunny Central Florida weather for a couple days till we go back to the Charlotte area tomorrow.
And how is Sierra Tango?
She's just fine, running strong.
Oh, good.
I love how you say that like it's something that it's like it's almost like your baby now as far as you're concerned.
You only have to meet it once, Matt, and it's like
right.
It's like,
okay.
Oh,
all right.
beautiful.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
Fair
beautiful.
enough. Oh, dear.
So big welcome to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. Let's have a look and see who's in there this week. We've got Richard Adams. He was in there early this evening. Hello to you, Richard. Alan White is in the chat room. Mazoos, hello to you, Mazoos. Lovely to see you in there as always this week. Nick Codling, hello to you, Nick. Jenny over in Rome. Always good to see. I hope you've had some good weather your side of the
It's always
river,
nice
Jenny.
in Rome.
Yeah, it's always nice in Rome. Our main man, Micah, is in the chat room as well, keeping us all safe with his blue spanner of doom. We've got Dirk S. Hello to you, Dirk. Neil Lanwarn as well. GB's Model Zone. We've got, scrolling down, make sure I don't miss anyone. Oh, Matt Smith's in the chat room.
Never heard of him. He's a right dodgy.
Interesting one there.
Yeah. But Micah, get that spanner out quick.
Masha is also in the chat room. Katie is also in the chat room. Hello,
I
to
told you
Katie.
she was watching this. I knew she
know.
was watching.
She's blinking watching
I
us,
know,
honestly.
can't get away. Yeah, it's just
All our
like-
trade secrets. Some geezer called John. He's in the chat room as well.
Yeah, the dodgy fella, stay well
Dodgy
away.
fella,
absolutely,
yeah, Alan White. But hello to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. Good
Actually,
to see you all in there.
while we're mentioning chat rooms and things, I just wanted to mention, if that's okay, because a big fan of the show, who we had the great pleasure of meeting at the 400th, and we've all met very, very regularly as well. It is actually Mila's birthday on Sunday.
Oh,
so
my word.
happy birthday to Mila for
Happy birthday,
Sunday.
Mila.
Absolutely. Are you going to sing, Carlos? Or?
Well, you normally kick things off.
No, you're all right. No, okay. Anyway, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We'll send you a voicemail at some point. But
Yeah.
happy birthday, Mila, for Sunday.
We'll get Nev to sing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a treat.
That would be a treat. And don't forget as well, if you are listening to our glorious voices via the audio show and you've downloaded that through the various places you download it from, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Search for us on YouTube, Plain Talking UK on there. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to click on that bell icon, which is right next door, to be notified when we are live and recording new episodes, just like we are now. Because we'd love to have you in the chat room, because we love a chat room.
Absolutely.
We
Carlos,
really do.
by the way, Mark has been in touch by WhatsApp saying he's loving the picture that's behind you. What's that picture behind you on your green screen?
It's safe to say that it's obviously one of the greatest aircraft ever to fly.
Oh, it's not
in
one of
the
them silly
world.
TriStar things again, is
It's
it?
the beautiful
Lockheed Constellation.
L1011. Oh, Armando. I can't get the staff these days.
All you
Anyway.
can.
So we've got a massive amount of news to get through this week,
Oh, have we?
including military news and our military special Caption This
Oh, dear.
this week, which has, I have to say, this week's military special Caption This has been quite popular.
Good.
I won't
That's
lie.
what we like to hear.
So if everyone's ready to do some commercial news,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry.
yeah, go on, hit the button then. I just noticed Nev had dived away then. So, kicking off this week's first news story. This one comes to us from the bbc.co.uk. Always good to see some BBC stories on here. You know it's right then. And we've talked a bit about this in the previous episodes, and it's all about those wonderful masks that we've all been wearing now for the last few years. And Heathrow Airport drops its COVID face mask rules. Where it dropped them, I don't know. But if you find them, let them know. The UK's largest airport has dropped its mandatory face mask for passengers. Heathrow Airport no longer requires people to wear them in its terminals, railway stations, office buildings, but will continue to recommend they do so. BA, Virgin Atlantic are the latest airlines as well to relax their policies on face coverings. Passengers must still wear them on board flights if the country they're traveling to requires it. Plan B measures ended in late January this year, meaning masks were no longer legally required on some public transport and in shops. However, Heathrow, which handles a large number of international flights, had kept that rule: face coverings must be worn until this week. Heathrow said that while the airport was pleased to move away from the mandatory face mask requirements, if there was a significant rise in infections or a future variant concern, it would not hesitate to bring the mandate back. The airport said face coverings would remain available for people who still want to wear them, and Virgin and BA have both said that they were also changing their face mask policies from Wednesday, making it a personal choice for customers and crew to wear them on board certain flights. BA said that in their statement, we were clear: the destination you're traveling to doesn't require a face mask on board. It will become optional. The airline said customers may be asked to wear a mask when getting on and off planes at destination airports. And it highlighted as well that on routes to or from the US, masks would still be required until at least the 18th of April. Virgin Atlantic's Chief Customer and Operating Officer, Cornell Costa said its policy would be introduced gradually, encourage passengers to respect each other's choices. From today, all travellers will be able to enter the UK also without filling a passenger locator form, or PLF, for taking COVID tests. Holidaymakers will still need to be aware of and follow the rules, though, of where they are going. And it is worth always checking the destination you're going to or travelling to, what their rules are when you travel into the country, because they are different in and around Europe. So it's always worth checking. But what do you think, guys? Masks, I mean, I think I will continue to wear one if I do go on board an aircraft again this year.
Well, yes, I think that's reasonable, isn't it? But unfortunately, by mucking around with the rules again, just in case you think you had trouble previously when masks were mandated on aircraft, and then certain people wouldn't wear them, and then they got offloaded and were generally unpleasant. This optional business is just going to make it even worse, and I don't understand why they've done it. Either you're wearing them or you're not. And this sort of halfway house business, I think that's just going to lead to passenger difficulty, shall we say. And I'm sure there'll be a couple of weeks' time, we'll be reading about a story where something has happened, won't we?
Yeah, well, and this is the thing. The bit that worries me about all of this is, like, you know, whatever your personal preference is or whatever, you know, it's your choice to wear a mask, as you say. But depending on the, you know, it's the cabin crew that I'm feeling sorry for in this particular scenario, because obviously they're the ones who are going to have to make those tough decisions and tough calls and upset passengers and that kind of thing, as you say. And the ambiguity here is just going to be so frustrating, isn't it?
Masha makes a good point in the chat room, actually, and I agree with this. She's got so many cute designed masks, she wants to show them off.
Well, there is that.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
you know, I've got a couple of really nice masks, one of which you got me, Matt, and Mama Smith got me.
Oh, yeah.
And my other, I've got 2 aviation themed masks, which I quite like wearing.
And also, of course, the other thing is that Apple have just released an update this week on the iPhone, which enables you to do a Face ID, you know, opening the phone
using the
business
mask
whilst wearing a mask.
Oh, that's clever. That's clever.
Yeah,
but it's all a bit too late. To
another
party,
ridiculous thing in my
Indeed,
book, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. To be honest with you, I did, because I mean, somebody did say actually, if you do the face scan wearing the mask as one of your options, that is one way of doing it. But it was also, she said, I just bung in my PIN code for the occasions when I needed my phone while I was wearing me.
How's the old mask wearing thing stateside, Armando? Is it still sort of as and when?
What masks?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, good. Right.
Well, good. First of all, I'm in Florida right now, where I don't think anybody ever wore masks, and I do think it's a little bit interesting that so you don't have to wear the mask if you're anywhere on the airport, but the moment you board the airplane, you have to wear a mask. So it's a little odd.
Yeah, it only lives in aircraft, unfortunately.
Also, BA have had a bit of a moment, I think, was it this week or the back end of last week, where
IT issues
that you don't have to wear a mask, but you do again. So
I think we've got a story coming up on that later.
With you know, just changing their mind on the hoof is not helpful.
Okay. Again, with my sort of feeling sorry for the cabin crew hat on here, it's them that are going to have to sort of sort out the weed from the chaff, isn't it, essentially, on this, which is just, you know, they've got better things to waste their time with, frankly. Never mind.
So, Matt, you've got the next story, and it's all about saving a few quid with our favourite low-cost carrier.
Oh, goody. Right. Okay. So, coming from the websites good2.com and also tiktok.com, the headline is Ryanair customer shares clever luggage tip that could save you big on flights. Ryanair customer has shared a brilliant money-saving tip that could help you save up to £50 on luggage costs every time you book a holiday. Budget airlines are great, but most travellers end up spending more money on everything from snacks to carry-on luggage. Travellers have praised TikToker Cloda Scanlon after she posted her clever trick for saving money while boarding a Ryanair flight. A 20-kilogram check-in bag isn't always essential for a short trip, but Ryanair does not include a complimentary 10-kilogram carry-on bag either, so you'll have to pay extra for it if you want any sort of carry-on luggage besides a handbag or a backpack. Ryanair's initial booking option allows passengers to select their fare based on their seat and baggage needs. Clodagh explains in the video that if you wait and choose value fare, you will still be able to add bags later on. Instead of paying €192, that's £161 for her flights, Clodagh managed to pay €133, £111 for the exact same flight with the exact same amount of luggage. So go into Ryanair's app and do your usual, picking your flights, picking your dates, and choosing the value fare, which does not include a 10-kilogram bag. After that, if you click continue, you'll be taken to a new page where you can manually add the 10-kilogram bag back for just €13. That's £10. John very kindly has given us an explanation here, because if you're like me, you're a bit confused. With the value fare, you get to bring a small handbag, backpack or laptop, etc., as a carry-on. With the regular fare, you can get the small bag plus the 10-kilogram carry-on, and also priority boarding as you get to pick your own seat. With this tip, and you get to pick your own seat. With this tip, Clodagh explains that you can add priority boarding, including a 10-kilogram bag, on the value fare for less than the regular fare. But with this method, you do not get to select a seat. Now, that is one of the things that I do struggle with a bit with this whole particular model, isn't it? Where you're obliged to, if you're travelling together as a group, you're not necessarily sort of in the same, you're not sitting next to each other unless you pay extra, which I have to confess I do find quite frustrating. If you're watching the YouTube feed, we've got some examples that John has very kindly put together for us. So you've got the value fare there, which is $25.90, as I say. So with the value fare, you get to bring a small handbag, backpack or laptop bag, etc. as carry-on. With the regular fare, you get the small bag plus the 10-kilogram carry-on, a priority boarding, of course, and you also get to pick your own seat. So it's the only thing that worries me. The only thing that worries me a little bit with this, of course, is that now that it's been made public, of course, Ryanair will probably cotton onto it and will probably change it. But absolutely, yeah. So you carry on, so continue with value fare, and then you can add the bag afterwards, which is a useful hack. I mean, obviously not for Nev, because there's only one airline. Have you ever actually done a Ryanair flight?
I did once, yeah, Luton to.
Did you?
Kerry, I think it was.
Okay. Fair enough.
It again. But do you not think that there's a level of complexity here which is unnecessary and could lead to arguments?
I agree. You had me at hello on this story. I would just pay I would go to the booking site and I'd just be like, I don't know, difference between £24, £29, £29 it is.
Yeah. Yeah, which I guess is what but there is, yeah.
your cheap flights you've got booked up in May, I think it is, Armando.
Yeah.
Does that include whole?
No, it's a small item only, personal.
Okay.
It's exactly the Norwegian model going across transatlantic, which, as John was kind of saying in this story, is I paid for exactly what I needed, which is I'm going over there for 4 days, and all I'm going to have with me is a backpack with a couple extra, changes of undies, and that's it. And it'll fit under my bag.
Richard Adams is saying in the chat room, that's so complicated you may as well have a one-armed bandit handle to put to pull to help you decide. Wow, okay. I mean that's dark.
So Nev, we're going to sort of stick with you on this one, and BA. This is a rather interesting story, I will say.
Yes, and I think there's money available for lawyers here by the look of things. Unusually, it's on the dailymail.co.uk, and it says that a group of 16 BA pilots sue the airline for more than £250,000. The 16 veteran flyers, spearheaded by Captain Jonathan Perry, are now claiming compensation payouts ranging from £10,000 to £100,000. They say that they were left with painful neck and spinal conditions caused by constantly swivelling round to check a CCTV screen at the rear of the cockpit showing aircrew buzzing to be let in. The 3-camera security system was brought in after the 9/11 attacks to give pilots a clear camera view of anyone wishing to gain entry before buzzing them in. But the lawyers for the 16 pilots say that the CCTV screens should have been positioned at the front of the cockpit to prevent pilots from having to crane their necks around. In court documents, his barrister Christopher Edwards said that Captain Perry, who flew for BA for 12 years flying the 757 and 767, claims to have been strapped so tightly into his cockpit chair that it was awkward to switch his whole body round to check the cockpit door security surveillance system, which is the CDSS monitor. He claims he had to twist his neck up to 5 times each hour before operating the flight deck door release, which amounted to a total of around 5,000 neck twists per year. When the buzzer sounds, the pilot twists his neck to look at the image from the first camera. They then turn forward to use the controls in front of him to cycle to the second view from the camera, and then the pilot twists his neck again to look at the CDSS monitor. And the same process is repeated for the third camera. So finally he then operates the controls to open the door. Captain Perry says he suffered a slipped disc and spinal damage due to his repeated neck twisting and had to undergo spinal surgery to treat his condition in 2015. British Airways denies liability for the pilot's injuries, claiming it did not breach its duty to keep them safe from injury, as well as contesting the size of their claims. The case reached the Central London County Court last week as lawyers hammered out pre-trial issues involving legal costs and quantifying the 16 claims. No date has yet been fixed for the trial, which will focus on whether BA breached its duty of care towards its pilots and the precise causes of their conditions.
This is so bizarre. The chat room of
it's lit
kind
up,
of
isn't
it? Lit up over this. When I found a story, and when I found a story last night and put it in here, dropped it in here, I read through it. It's just bizarre. I've never heard anything like this in all the years we've been doing this show.
There seems to be a level of complexity on the 75 and 76 aircraft, obviously which BA no longer flies. I think I'm right in saying on the Airbus, certainly on the 330 and the 340, and therefore probably on the 380, you can actually see it in front of you. And I'm sure on the 350 that you and I went on, Carlos, I'm sure that there was access to the flight deck door CCTV from there. But it does sound a bit of a design issue there, doesn't it?
I take issue with this. And first of all, 5,000 neck twists in 1 year. I would love to compare that to Captain Perry's quantity of neck twists, checking out the opposite genders when he's on his layovers in all these cities. So how do you prove that those 5,000 neck twists, looking at that monitor in 1 year, were the ones that caused his slip disc? In addition to this, I imagine that Captain Perry also didn't complain on September 13th, 2001, when they probably figured out that they needed to put some kind of security system to monitor who was coming into the flight deck. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? They had to do something to modify an airplane cockpit is time consuming and very expensive. And had they tried to come up, this is just my personal opinion, but had they tried to come up with a solution that displays on the front, first of all, there's no real estate up there. You've already got iPads up there. Where are you going to put an extra monitor? Now you have to get it tested. You're going to have to get it certified. So it would have been on 9/11/2002 before they figured out, where to put this camera and monitor. I don't quote me on the numbers. I don't know when these, the strong doors came about. I'm sure it was a couple of years later anyway, but
So we've got some great comments in the chat room here. We're going to start with Captain Ridiculous Wits, if we may. Craning one's neck is no joke, but I'm absolutely sure that strapping yourself that tightly into the seat is far worse, was one of his comments. And moreover, don't these guys need to do a fitness for duty physical? What kind of guys are these that are breaking their backs and necks by looking behind them? Jeez. Carlos.
Yeah, Neil Lamont says just give them a makeup compact with a little mirror, which would obviously work very well. It's a very good idea.
Indeed. I'm liking Sturman's comment as well, actually.
Fighter pilots are laughing at this.
Quite, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, because they wear a huge helmet, and obviously weighs a little bit, but I'm saying with what Nev was saying just a moment ago, I'm fairly sure. I mean, John's has said in our ear and stuff, but I've seen it myself, and I know Airbus have got the screens. I think the camera screens are in the center. Sure, they're the center console, the screens, and they can switch and see those on there. On the 320 it is. I'm fairly sure on the 320 it is, but it's a weird one. Very weird.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of preempting outcomes for people in court, because that's not what I do. But I wouldn't mind having a couple of quid on this, that there could be an out-of-court settlement.
Do you think?
Let's have a look.
Yeah. What sort of odds do you think they're going to... Oh, come on, it's Cheltenham week. I mean, what sort of odds do you think they're sort of going to be offering
it's
something
probably,
like this?
well, it's no more than 50-50, is it?
Right, okay. Wow, okay.
We'll have to see.
Indeed. Yeah, watch this space.
Watch this space. Yeah, we'll probably have some updates. There'll be someone else complaining. Richard Adams says he remembers that Captain Nick had back and neck problems, he said, were caused by looking over his shoulder in his fighter days, but a rather higher G than the blokes in this story.
It's a very good point. Very well made.
Yeah, I mean, on the Osprey, we didn't even pull that many Gs. Well, on defensive maneuvers, we did, but just by the sheer fact of wearing 35 pounds of Kevlar vest plus all your survival gear on every single flight, plus a helmet that makes you look like a bobblehead. Or do you remember in 007, the Bond video game, Big Head Mode? That's what we always felt. Yeah. We were always in big head mode. I forgot about that. We didn't even from the catacombs of my mind, but we didn't even have that much maneuvering in that airplane, and every flight, your back hurts, your neck hurts. But you know what? I chose that career field.
We're going to say hello to John Jester. He's joined in from John. So hello to you, John. And we'll stick with you, Armando, for this next story. And it's more good news for Boeing. They've sold some more stuff.
Yeah. So I actually hadn't been tracking this. This is Caribbean startup airline Arajet. They're ordering 20 737 MAX 8-200s with another 15 options. This came from Boeing.com, airlinerwatch.com. The two organizations announced this 2737 MAX airplanes, specifically the Dash 8 or the 8 MAX 8-200.
I know it's a mouthful,
right, to deliver low operating costs and expand affordable travel options in the Americas. Arajet also has options to purchase 15 additional 737 MAX jets, which would take the airline's planned fleet to 40 aircraft. This order was finalized in January and is currently attributed to an unidentified customer on Boeing's orders and deliveries website. The airline hosted a launch event yesterday at its new hub in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. That's positioned perfectly between North and South America, and this location in the Caribbean is going to leverage the perfect range of the 737 MAX to efficiently serve a large number of traditional and underserved markets in the continental United States, Brazil, Colombia, and throughout Central and South America, according to Arajet. This 737 MAX 8-200 is a high-capacity variant of the MAX 8, developed for the low-cost market, as we've talked about with some of the European carriers. The aircraft itself isn't much bigger. However, it is certificated to carry more passengers than the MAX 8 due to the addition of an extra mid-exit door. Arajet's first jet was a 737-8 leased from Griffin Global Asset Management, delivered in early March. The jet was toured by Dominican President Luis Abinader at the launch event, along with industry, government, and tourism officials. The travel and tourism industry, of course, is recovering globally. Arajet is supposed to bring 4,000 new jobs and a significant new economic development to the island of the Dominican Republic. Now, I put the story in here because it is there is a long history of aviation in the Caribbean, right? We've all seen the Jimmy Buffett days, the Jimmy Buffett stories. My dad flew a regional airline. He flew for Ryanair in Puerto Rico to the whole Caribbean, and even to this day, American Airlines, American Eagle, has a pretty big presence. We talked about Tradewind a couple weeks ago on the show, ordering 20 new Pilatus PC-12s. They're going to be flying that into the Caribbean, St. Bart's, Antigua, a couple of the islands out there. So I feel like Arajet, what they're shooting for here is the same thing that WOW and Play are doing with Iceland. So capitalizing on that transatlantic market, but having that stop over there in Reykjavik. I think that's what they're kind of shooting for, is North America to South America with a central stop in the Dominican Republic, which 8% of the Dominican Republic's GDP comes from tourism. So good luck to them, and I hope it works out. But I've been to the Dominican Republic a few times on fuel stops, and it's beautiful, especially Santo Domingo. Great place for a layover.
Indeed. Now I've got a question here, because one thing that you guys are privileged to, as I say, because we've mentioned this before, but John put so much work into the background of our notes here, and he just put this little random. We get little random nuggets of information, and he's saying that tourism makes up 8.4% of the Dominican Republic's GDP. Now, I must admit, out of context, I don't really understand. That seems like quite a high number to me, to be purely reliant on tourism. I mean, that seems huge.
Well, I come from Puerto Rico. That's a pretty significant portion of our anywhere in the Caribbean, as well as some South Pacific islands. But most of the islands, that's your tourism is a huge portion of your GDP and your profits on the islands. This is. I mean, there's some beautiful places. There's a lot of cruise operators go to Puerto Plata. They go to Ocho Rios. No, Ocho Rios is Jamaica. The Santo Domingo is a huge cruise port. So it is not uncommon for island nations to have. And I think John was just saying that in the UK, it's 9%. Tourism is 9% of the GDP. So
wow, okay,
there you go. Mm-hmm. That's why things like the pandemic is incredibly hurtful to an economy like this, when we shut down air travel, things like that.
Absolutely.
These smaller countries, emerging economies, really suffer.
Boeing is slowly starting to claw back some of the billions they've lost over the last few years. Slowly. So next story. This is a story that I never thought I'd see. We'll be reading out. It comes to us from independent.co.uk, airporttechnology.com, shannonairport.ie, and AIN Online. And the headline, Liquids Rule for Hand Luggage Scrapped by Leading Irish Airport. I'll be interested to hear what your thoughts are on this, guys, when I've finished. 16 years after the liquids rule was introduced for airline passengers' cabin baggage, a leading Irish airport has dropped the 100 millilitres size restriction on containers. Shannon Airport in the west of Ireland now allows passengers to take liquids, gels, pastes, lotions and cosmetics in containers of any size through the passenger security point. The liquids must be in resealable containers, and Shannon specifies when passing through the passenger security point, you must place the cabin bag containing liquids at the very top of the items within your security screening tray. Passengers are warned, though, that other airports still restrict the size of liquid containers. Shannon has busy links to the UK and Europe on Ryanair to Europe, as well as onto the US with Aer Lingus. And Shannon was the first airport in the world with a duty-free shop which opened in 1947. Didn't know that. The ban on liquids, aerosols, and gels, known in aviation as LAGs, L-A-G-S, was brought in during 2006, following a full plan to blow up planes. The plot involved assembling bombs in flight from ingredients brought through security. Global relations, or regulations, I should say, currently ban anything that can vaguely be classed as a liquid except in containers under 100 milliliters. And a few little comments from John. So at many airports, passengers must place laptops, computers, iPads, and other electronic items in separate trays, as these items may be dense enough to conceal other items below them in hand luggage. Also in June 2019, Heathrow Airport announced a £50 million investment in a high-tech 3D kit that uses the same technology as medical scanners, computed tomography or CT scans to assess whether any items present a threat. The airport said when fully developed, the equipment could end the need for passengers to remove their liquids from their bags and laptops from cabin baggage when passing through security. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson later said that all UK's airports were to implement the technology by the 1st of December 2022. But the December the 1st, 2022 deadline looks unlikely. No surprise there. Capital investment possibilities needed to complete this mandate in the current climate are unlikely, and the government never clarified what major airports meant, so that the promise was intentionally vague. Though it was a good goal. So, I mean, it's only Shannon Airport that have stopped this.
Shannon's a pretty major
quite
hub,
a busy
though.
airport,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can say it's a pretty major hub. Or okay, all right. I thought it was a pretty major hub, but I'm getting noises in my ear that it's about as major as Prestwick, apparently. Okay, all right. It's okay.
But liquids,
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I always stick my tub of Ozine in the suitcase, but
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. It's but I mean it was off the back of an incident, wasn't it? That's why this
there
whole
was a
thing
few
sort
of
of
them.
happened.
Yeah.
Not Beccles International.
No, not Beccles International.
No, right,
That's
okay.
twinned with London Norwich.
Slightly bigger than Beccles Airport, but not by much. Then apparently.
What do you think, Nev? Liquids?
Well, yes, but only at one airport. What's the point? Either make the rule for all of the Irish airports, even if they're owned by different operators. And I don't know, I can't remember who does own Shannon compared to Dublin and all the rest of it. But again, opportunity for confusion and difficulty. I remember not that long ago, I put all my liquids in a bag at Heathrow. And actually, this was when Edinburgh and Heathrow were owned by the same company, British Airports Authority. That is a while ago, I concede. But they're the same operator, and I took my stuff in the container, the plastic bag. Heathrow are fine with it. I get to Edinburgh to come back, and Edinburgh Airport says in their security, oh, it's the wrong size bag. Well, what size bag would you like then? So, again, just... It's part of my OCD, I'm sure, but I think they just need consistency across all travel hubs, basically. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I think they need to...
Everybody needs to agree, don't they?
Go a bit further with this.
Yes, John's saying
Armando?
there is that that Dublin are sort of in talks to sort of trial it. I mean, they are currently trialing it. Sorry, I mean But Armando, surely the issue here is that it's like you almost need all of the airports to be singing from the same song sheet, don't you?
I guess I'll kind of remind you guys. This is because of an evolution of technology. The threat has not gone away. It's because there is now technology that enables you to scan the materials inside of the bottles, regardless of their size, to determine if they are a threat or not. That's why Heathrow, I think they're pumping, $50 million into a 3D kind of multispectral scanner system that'll allow this same thing to happen, where Heathrow, you won't have to take out your laptops and your liquids, but the screening is still happening. It's just not a visual screening, which is eliminating a little bit of the human error on that. So,
wow. Okay.
So, moving on to the next story, Matt, we are moving to Brazil.
Indeed, yes. So several sources on this one. It's terumntdigital.com. We've got metro.co.uk, timesnownews.com, and also the New York Post as well. A 9-year-old boy identified as Emmanuel Marquez, I hope that was okay, de Olivier, boarded alone, without airfare, without documents, and without bags on a LATAM flight which left Manaus Airport and headed to Sao Paulo International Airport. The airline and Manaus Airport Management Company are investigating how the child managed to travel. The civil police requested images from security cameras and also investigates the situation. In a statement, the civil police said that the child acted without the help of adults and before leaving did research on the internet on how to get on a plane unnoticed. They said that there was no history of violence in the family, and the child is reported as saying that he simply wanted to live in Sao Paulo with other family members, believed he was aiming to visit his uncle in Campinas after a holiday there with his dad in January. After filing a report at the police station and starting to publicise her son's image on social media, the mother received a call from a LATAM employee around 10 p.m. that same day, informing her that the boy was at now I might need help with this one. Sorry, I want to say Guarulhos.
Guarulhos.
Oh, you say it so well. Airport, basically in Sao Paulo. The LATAM said in a statement. Or LATAM, sorry, said in a statement, a minor was identified on flight LA 3168 on Saturday afternoon, the 26th of February 2022, which disembarked at 9:09 in the evening. Guarulhos, the company called, in Guarulhos, the company called the Federal Police and the Guardianship Council, which sent him to a shelter to await the necessary procedures for his return to Manaus. The child was flown back to Manaus the next morning. Now, there is a few videos here. While I play this, I mean, guys, this is an incredible story, surely. I mean, how did this happen? It's, yes, it's, so we'll leave somebody more qualified than me to describe what's happening in the video for the audio.
I love, while you're pulling that up, James says in the chat room, "Where are your parents? No parents? Well, what about your bags? No bags? Seems legit. Go ahead, take a seat."
So there, as I say, there you can see him in the airport there, sort of working his way through the line there. Look, nobody's sort of really.
I mean, he looks like a traveler. Yeah,
he does look like it. He's got a little backpack.
He's got his mask on.
Well, I mean, that's that praise where praise is due. As I say, literally just going through there, nobody. That's just crazy, isn't it?
I think they just assumed he was traveling with the person in front of them.
Yeah. I suppose. I suppose it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you would quite often have people. I suppose, yeah. You just sort of. I don't know. Does it highlight perhaps how complacent some gate agents can be in terms of passport IDs and things like that?
Perhaps they were filming a spin-off from the Home Alone.
A spin-off from Home Alone, right? Okay. Fair enough. I mean, sure, why not? Let's go with that. But I mean, fortunately, obviously, no real harm has come here. It's ever so sweet that he wanted to go and stay with his uncle. But I mean, it's just very bold to just like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the kahunas on this young man are ridiculous. Let's.
I love Masha's comment.
Oh, go on.
If ever you need to get away with doing anything in any workplace, so Masha says, and he didn't even have a clipboard.
High vis and a clipboard, you can get away with anything. Yeah,
high vis, clipboard.
Oh, and a Motorola.
Yeah.
Other walkie-talkies are available.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I've never done it before.
No, anyway, indeed.
Moving on to the next story, Mr. Bounds. You've got a good one here because we know you do love a little tipple every now and again.
Yes, and more importantly, it's for a flight which I'm hoping to take back to our company HQ next year. This is on the simpleflying.com, people.com and winemag.com. It says that British Airways has announced a new partnership with Aviation American Gin to celebrate the carrier's new route to Portland, Oregon. Service to London Heathrow will operate 5 times a week from June the 3rd. Co-owned by Ryan Reynolds, the gin will be served on all transatlantic flights and offered from the in-flight menu and onboard Speedbird Cafe for short-haul customers. That doesn't really make sense because it's a long-haul flight to Portland. But Gareth Williams, International Brand Director at Aviation American Gin, said of the announcement, through this partnership, we're keen to enhance each traveller's experience with a deliciously refreshing American gin cocktail for flyers to enjoy on journeys near and far, offering an American twist on this quintessentially British drink. Well, the flights will operate on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday from Portland PDX to London Heathrow. Customers on this route can expect BA's Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, which seats 214 passengers in a 3-class configuration. Aviation American Gin was founded in Portland in 2006. The gin is infused with a democratic blend of botanicals, including cardamom, coriander, French lavender, aniseed, sarsaparilla, juniper and 2 kinds of orange peel to create a smoother, softer, more refined take on gin. Wine enthusiast winemag.com has given the gin a 97-point rating, one of the highest ratings in its extensive listings. Well, the thing that's most important for me is that we can actually go from Heathrow to Portland PDX in one hit without having to transgress through Seattle or other American West Coast airports. So that's going to be quite a nice change, actually. But looking forward to trying the gin as well. So that'll be good.
Now, listen, for our culinary segment of this show, I love me some Aviation Gin. We are not sponsored, although listen, Aviation Gin, if you want to sponsor us, you are more than welcome to sponsor us. But in fact, yeah, we should just get in touch with Ryan Reynolds himself and offer him, if he's worthy to come on the show and push this. But my absolute favorite drink in the world, and the one I love to make the most at home, is an Aviation. And this is a drink, if you haven't had it, it goes all the way back to like 1917, but it's Aviation Gin, creme de violette, maraschino liqueur, and lemon juice with either a blueberry or a raspberry or something like that. It comes out like a nice frosty purple drink. Aviation Gin just makes that. It's over the top. It's the best drink you'll ever have. And for all you aviation enthusiasts out there, I'm not pushing the name of the gin, but for aviation airplane enthusiasts, it's a great drink. And if BA starts serving Aviation, I will fly to Portland so I can catch the direct flight from Portland. Right. This is called a Micah, right? Going from the East Coast to the West Coast so I can get to England. I'll pull a Micah.
I've got to remind everybody, of course, the original schedule for this flight never happened because BA scheduled it, and which was very exciting for my company and for all of us that have to travel to the West Coast to Portland. But it never happened because the pandemic came and BA pulled the flight even before it started. But now it's back up and running. So I noticed somebody I know quite well in the chat room, Stephen Patterson, he's already booked on it in June. So that's great news, isn't it? Superb.
Yeah, Matt, was there a video that went along with this one?
Oh, there was. Yes, absolutely. Yes, that was very good.
Hello and welcome aboard British Airways. Please pay attention as I demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. This aircraft is equipped with Aviation American Gin. Please ensure that your seatbelt is fastened whenever drinking it. Spilling even 1 drop of the world's highest rated gin will result in you being duct taped to your seat for the remainder of the flight. In the event of loss of cabin pressure, Aviation Gin will automatically fall from the panel above your head. You're welcome. In the unlikely event of a water landing, flotation devices will be available and they will be amazing. This is starting to feel reckless. Okay, yeah, let's just stop, guys. We're going to stop now.
I mean, wow. I mean, the audio speaks for itself, really. If you're listening to the audio version of the show, obviously it's sort of very self-explanatory.
He is so good.
Indeed,
One of my
absolutely.
actors.
Captain Ridiculous Witcher said, "Let's get the whole community to bug him on social media until he breaks and agrees to do the show." Oh, we can't get Ryan on. I won't be able to concentrate if we get Ryan Reynolds on the show. For goodness' sake!
If we get Ryan Reynolds on the show,
Yeah.
you're gonna see Megan's hand is gonna come from the side and like,
yeah.
You're gonna see her face sitting right here.
Yeah. Hello.
Suddenly she's a huge fan of Aviation Gin.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and all that. So,
I used to be a huge fan of the game show Countdown in the UK many years ago.
Yeah, no, we've tried. Carol Vorderman said no, Carlos. We did try.
Anyway.
To be fair, the agent said no, not actually.
Moving
no,
on.
anyway,
Can I just say, I sat one table away from her at Riyadh many years ago.
Right, okay.
Can I just say.
And you didn't invite her on then because?
She had lots of people around her wearing suits and... Yeah.
What? And you were in your pajamas? What? I don't really understand what's going.
Anyway,
okay.
For those of you who don't know who Carol Vorderman is,
Google
just
her.
Google.
It's fine.
Google her.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's lovely. Yeah. She's up there with Nigella Lawson.
Moving on.
Great show.
Moving on.
Anyway, the next story is all yours, Armando.
Okay, so you've had an hour to think about it. Here I am in Lakeland, Florida. Is the undisclosed city in Florida that I'm at. I am actually, today I visited the Sun and Fun campus, which is already being built by its volunteers just across the way there. Sun and Fun, it's a aviation event that I've wanted to go to. I've never been to it. I've been to Oshkosh. I haven't been to Sun and Fun, but it's once again happening here in the skies over Lakeland, Florida from Tuesday to Sunday, April 5th through 10th. Celebrating this annual camaraderie of aviation. This year's expo will also be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the United States Air Force, which will be highlighted by a demonstration by the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds in their first appearance at the event since 2016. As a complete side note and ad-libbing to the story, I was in the hangar this morning where they are storing 90 barrels of smoke oil for the Thunderbirds. There are 90 55-gallon drums of smoke oil in there. Anyway, 48th year for this event. It's primary fundraiser for the Aerospace Center of Excellence, which I went to today. It enables the delivery of STEM-related and aerospace education programs, scholarships, engaging over 50,000 local youth every year. And little known fact, there's actually a high school. There's the Florida Aviation Academy that's in there. Sun and Fun, if you haven't been to it, it's a 6-day aviation nirvana event for 225,000 attendees plus millions more via the internet. It's touted as the largest annual convention in the state of Florida, as well as the second largest general aviation event in the world behind Oshkosh. Attendees are encouraged to take advantage of the training forums, hands-on workshops, aircraft demonstrations, showcases, plenty of engaging activities for all of the public of all ages to enjoy. I was actually debating today. I was like, April 5 through 10. Maybe I'll take Maddie out of school for a day and get the 182 and just fly down here. But either way, this year there's the theme is called Where It's At. Not proper grammar, I'm sure, but they're expecting over 500 exhibitors, many plane manufacturers. There's a 3-day career fair. There's a national stole competition, which is the same guys that come out to Reno. Lots of food options, daily live entertainment, about 2,000 acres of fun here at the Lakeland Linder Airport. So there you go. All kinds of stuff. There's going to be, I don't know, maybe something a little bit close to my mind, to my heart. The Air Force is bringing the Thunderbirds, as we said. There's going to be an A-10 demonstration team. There's going to be C-17s. There's going to be all kinds of multi-aircraft static displays. So, and there's the night shows, the night air show. If you haven't seen this, a bunch of us that were at the APG 400, which one was Oshkosh? Or maybe it was just APG Oshkosh. Anyway, a bunch of us aviation geeks were up there in Oshkosh when APG had their thing, and the night air show is just amazing. It's just, there's fire coming out of airplanes on purpose at night. Just the coolest thing.
Planned fire, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Google, you can go to fly SNF or flysunandfun.org, or just Google Sun and Fun. We'll see you there. I'm going to try to make it.
How much is that to get in there, Armando, just as a matter of interest? Is it a free?
Funny that you have that. So a daily ticket general admission is $45 US. If you are a member of any aviation association like the AOPA, EAA, that's $40. Active duty and retired military are $40. Youth is $20. 6 and under is free. Or you can just get a weekly pass for $170 is the highest, and they go down all the way down to $70 for the youth. You can also get preferred airshow seating, preferred photo seating. There's a chalet club, depending on what you want. And then there's if you want to donate $5,000, there's an ACE ambassador flight deck entry.
Wow.
So $45. It's about 34 quid for a ticket then, which is it's not too bad actually, I suppose, for something that big.
I mean, it's a huge event, and you can also camp. So there's RV camping, there's tent camping. Hotels here get a little bit. Oh, sorry, there's airplane camping. So you could just fly down with a buddy and camp under the wing. It's also
I like how you've managed to sort of sneakily squeeze in a little bit of sort of a hint towards some military bits and pieces as part of the commercial, by the way, Armando. That hasn't gone unnoticed. I just want to put that out there.
Oh dear.
I know this is a little bit late, but if you really wanted to sneak in some military, you could put up the picture that I sent you guys earlier to the WhatsApp of that very unique airplane. I would be willing to bet that nobody can get that. Or we put it up now and then see if somebody in the military segment gets what this airplane is.
Okay, all right.
Do you remember that?
We're going to pop that up just before the caption this to give people time to have a look at that. John, if you could drop that in the folder for me, I would be eternally grateful. Lovely. So, I do love a little bit of production in on the fly, always part of the fun. That's how we roll.
Sorry, should have planned that. Anyway, speaking of alcohol,
this show seems to be
some.
this tonight's show just seems to be purely based on alcohol. I mean, we normally do shows about food, but this week seems to be all about
the beer.
So this one comes just from cnbc.com, and good news for any of our listeners who are in the US, especially if you fly out of Charlotte quite a lot, because this is American Airlines will resume alcohol sales on flights starting from April the 18th. So American Airlines said on Thursday this week it will resume sales of alcohol beverages on domestic and short-haul international flights next month. A plan it delayed almost a year because of a surge of unruly passenger attacks on crew members. Okay. Airlines stopped selling alcohol and paused food sales and service in March 2020 when the pandemic started and a travel demand plunged. Carriers have been steadily bringing back many of those services over the past year as travelers return in their droves. American is the last major US carrier to bring back sales of beer, wine, and spirits, which it will sell in its domestic coach cabins starting on April the 18th this year. At the date, the current federal mask mandate expires as well. It isn't clear whether the Biden administration will extend or end the requirement. Southwest Airlines restarted its alcohol sales last month. Drinking and disputes over the mask mandate have contributed to unruly behavior on flights. Flight attendant unions have said the sales will be available on American flights longer than 250 miles. It's a bit precise. Alcohol beverages are complimentary on Americans' long-haul international flights and in first class, similar to other major airlines. American and Southwest last May scrapped plans to start selling alcohol again after a surge in the disruptive passengers, as we've covered many times on this show on Crew, including a Southwest traveller who punched a flight attendant. I know we did cover that story as well on the show. American isn't raising its prices, though, compared with before the pandemic, a spokeswoman told CNBC. Spirits such as new arrival Aviation Gin, as we were talking about earlier on the show, rum, vodka, and whiskey will be $9. Wine servings are also available, Nev, at $9. And you can also get a nice beer, Matt, for $8 as well. And American is also bringing back buy on board food, which will start with flights longer than 1,500 miles, about 3.5 hours, starting with chips and almonds. Why chips and almonds? I think they mean crisps and almonds. It's an American thing, isn't it, for chips and crisps? The airline says it will start offering touchless ordering later on this year. Last month, American and Delta Airlines announced the return of hot meals to first class on many domestic flights. So, good news, Armando. American, you can now get back to having a good old beer.
What could go wrong, because we still have mask rules in place, and I love when the flight crew says, well, you're more than welcome to remove your mask for short periods to drink or eat. So now that they're serving alcohol, I just need to spend the entire flight like this with my mask down, drinking, and then I'll just do that for all 3.5 hours, and then I'm legal with the mask mandate, right?
Or just leave the mask on while you drink. It will filter the drink for you.
Oh, I'm not sure that's sanitary.
Yeah. Okay. So, Nev, over to you for this next story, and another story that tickled me when I read it earlier on.
Yes, I think some of these stories that I'm supposed to read out have been chosen especially for me to add sarcastic comments at the end, and this one is no exception. This was from WBZ News Radio, foxbusiness.com and boston25news.com. It says that dozens of passengers were stuck on a JetBlue flight because the airline didn't have anybody on staff who could operate the jet bridge. The flight departed from JFK in New York City late on Monday, March the 14th, and landed at Worcester Regional Airport in Massachusetts early on Tuesday morning. As the plane taxied to the gate, the pilot told the passengers they would not be able to disembark. It was silence. Then the pilot said, I have something embarrassing to tell you guys. There is no one to get you off the flight, passenger Sabrina Ruel told WCVB. They had no staff available to get us off the airplane. According to WFTX, the employee trained to safely operate the jet bridge went home early after feeling sick. State police were called to the airport to assist, but officials managed to get a hold of the JetBlue manager at their home. The manager rushed to the airport and was able to operate the jet bridge. After about 45 minutes, the plane parked at the gate and the passengers were able to disembark without incident. JetBlue says it's investigating the matter. We are working with our business partner, who operates our ground team in Worcester, to determine why a crew member was not in place at the jet bridge to ensure that this remains an isolated incident, a spokesperson for JetBlue said in a statement. Our records show customers on JetBlue flight 676 on Monday were required to wait 45 minutes to deplane after landing. While we comply with all Department of Transport regulations, in the event of a tarmac delay, we know any delay is a frustrating situation and apologise for the wait. I've got 3 things to say about this. Firstly, doors to manual and cross-check. Could have just jumped out the slide without any problem at all. And the other 2 things is I remember being at Dallas Fort Worth, probably mid-90s, I think. And same situation happened there. I think I was there for an hour. And then at Orlando, it was a Virgin flight. We couldn't actually dock up to the gate because there was one of those 4:00 p.m. Orlando thunderstorms, and they didn't want us to put on to hook up to the gate. So, hour and 15 minutes, slightly away from the gate, tantalisingly close, but not able to disembark the aircraft. So 45 minutes, take it or leave it.
Neil Amwell makes a comment in the chat room. The employee, they've only got one person trained?
Apparently so, yeah.
And poor
that's
JetBlue's getting
extraordinary.
a bad rap for this, but it's probably a third party,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not going to be JetBlue's staff, is it? Probably not. I would imagine it would be
No,
a
it's
ground
unlikely.
handling company, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Interestingly, sorry, I just seen come up on I think Mark is saying on the WhatsApp here. He said, "Sounds like my daft truck that locked me out last night at midnight with keys in the ignition." Has Carlos had this problem? There you are.
No, I drive an Italian-built truck.
Oh dear.
Good old Iveco.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Though, as you say, because it just sort of seems very strange that they must have known that this plane was coming. So why I don't know. There must have been a solution.
More than one person.
But also, I mean, it's like, okay, all right. So if the jet bridge doesn't work, surely you could simply move them to another gate and use an air stairs or something like. There must have been a solution to this. What am I missing?
We don't really have that here in the U.S. because it's a secure area. It's a SITA, so you can't just pull an air stair unless it's an emergency, of course. But you can't just call up and get an air stair up to the airplane because now all those passengers are in a portion of the ramp that is not secure or safe for them. And then to put the airplane somewhere else on the airport in Worcester, you would have had to do some serious coordinating of, okay, well, now are we gonna park at the FBO? They may have air stairs that can reach up to the Airbus door level, but then what do you do with all those passengers who have been screened? Now they have to go through security screening again. Yeah, it would have been. I think the pilots probably went through all these possible decisions and outcomes and just decided we'll wait with the engines running or the APU running and wait for the airport staff to sort it out. I bet you the flight crew is just as frustrated.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because as you say, you've done a full flight. I'm sure all any cabin crew wants to do is just basically get back to the hotel, and even if it's just have a shower and a bite to eat. You know what I mean? It's just desperate to.
Get JFK to Worcester is not exactly a long haul sector, is it?
No, admittedly, yes, okay, no fair.
Am I not feeling the love here? Am I? Sorry.
No.
I just think a 45-minute delay is kind of just normal for so many situations. Really,
I'd be happy with a delay if the aircraft was stopped and you're allowed onto the flight deck.
I like Dirk's comment. Sorry, John, if you could pop that one back, where he was saying that it was 45 minutes is half the average taxi time at JFK. So it's just like nothing unusual there. And then moving on to the next one, I think that John had, which was Stephen Patson is saying 45 minutes sounds like arrival into EDI. Such a
Edinburgh.
Oh yeah, you know,
true.
such a surprise an airplane
true,
arrives. Yeah,
indeed.
absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
Indeed.
One
Always a
last point that Micah makes, which is very, very good, is that at least the doors were closed, so the flight crew got paid, as did the cabin crew.
Oh, is that how it works? Literally simple as that.
Yeah. Chalk to chalk.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
so,
wow.
Armando, you have got the special last story and finally story.
Yeah, from the HollywoodReporter.com and avweb.com, as well as all of social media right now. If you have any airplanes on your feed, 2 pilots are going to attempt to swap airplanes in flight in a made-for-TV stunt that will air live on April 24th. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Red Bull Air Force member Luke Akins and his cousin Andy Farrington will take a pair of Cessna 182s to 14,000 feet, push them into a synchronized dive. The autopilots in the aircraft have been rigged to hold the aircraft in vertical dives with the help of custom air brakes that fold out from the belly, according to the Showbiz publication, as Matt has there in the picture. They will then cut the engines, exit the aircraft, and maneuver to the other's aircraft in time to restart the engine, recover from the dive, and land. The stunt is called Plane Swap. Sounds like a Netflix show. Plane Swap, and will be covered live on Hulu. Oh, well, there you go. In the US and on Red Bull TV at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on April 24th. According to Akins, he says this is the pinnacle of my career. And my goal is to inspire the world and show that anything is possible. He also said, if you set your mind on anything, on something that seems wild, crazy, and unattainable through ambition and creativity, you can make it happen. There you go. So he's also the same guy that jumped out of an airplane, did a free fall into a big net without a parachute. If you guys remember that.
What?
That was somewhere out west. Yep, he jumped out of an airplane and landed in a net in 2016.
Right.
Few comments coming in the chat room. Few comments.
Oh, was there? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Doug.
So we have a question from Micah first of all. We'll start with that.
Armando, you can answer this one.
How is this possible? I'll bet you they have an exemption. They have to do an exemption to the rules for this. It's a waiver, and any airshow event, parachuting event, any stunt like this, you actually have to submit months and months in advance a waiver to the FAA. It's not the 7110, 7710. It might be the 7710. It's an exemption to the rules, and in there you have to put in there what your contingency plans, emergency, your risk management, your first aid plans, what should everything go wrong, and then Micah, you'll get a kick out of this. But in that form, you put, here are the rules that we intend to break.
Oh,
and here are the rules that we need an exemption from. And so I'm sure for this event, like many of the other Red Bull craziness, there's probably like page after page and a separate addendum of, here are all the rules that we intend to break. Can you please, pretty please approve it? But that's how that goes. That's how stuff like this happens.
Apparently Neil Lamorne says that Bond did it years ago.
Yeah, he did it into the Pilatus Porter. And he did that in front of Mount Pilatus.
And of course, presumably, I mean, obviously James Bond didn't actually do it, but presumably some stunt people actually did.
Oh, no, it was a real stunt, because when I was at the Pilatus factory in March of 2019, the one of the guys was they have pictures of this up on the Pilatus factory, and of course this was
a highlight, I should imagine.
In the 90s, right? When But yeah, they did it all at the Pilatus factory in front of Mount Pilatus, which was in the background to the shot. And yeah, they jumped into. Now that was a little bit different because there was a pilot in the airplane flying the airplane in the nosedive.
Armando, Alan White has got a good point there.
Let's see, 1 takeoff with 0 landings on the first aircraft and 0 takeoff with 1 landing on the second aircraft.
How do you record it in the logbook is essentially what Alan is asking.
Yeah.
1 takeoff with 0 landing on the first aircraft. Yeah, no, that's going to generate a headache. That's going to. I think what we've learned here is this is going to generate significant paperwork.
Yeah, and Richard Adams, good point. The guy that crashed his Taylor craft, air quotes, deliberately, he probably did not do the exemption to the rules.
Quite. Yeah, indeed.
No, we'll see in the safety report.
So that brings the commercial show to an end, or commercial segment to an end. And Armando, you've got that picture, haven't you, to pop up on the screen for people to try and guess what that picture was, haven't you, Armando?
Matt, did you get it?
I did, yeah. Ready to go? Yeah.
Well, there you go. So the only way I can describe this, Matt, as you pop it up there, is it's a jet. It's a fighter jet. It is a Navy jet, and it doesn't have wheels. It's also got extendable water skis. And this is sitting outside of that Florida Air Museum, which we were talking about at the Lakeland Linder Museum. So if you guys can guess, I'm going to give you the entire military segment to guess what kind of airplane that is. Now, it is kind of a giveaway. You should be able to, I bet you GB's model zone. Already got it. You get the gold star. It is a Sea Dart, a YF-2Y Navy concept of fighter jet on skis.
I think I can say is to say John had even blown out the tail number so that people couldn't couldn't
It
do
was
it
a
that
giveaway.
way. So yeah, absolutely interesting. Yeah, it's been blurred. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was blurred
no,
out. They still got it. Look,
Good job, John. But yeah, GB's Model Zone, Micah got the Sea Dart. So well done, guys. That makes me so proud, my military enthusiasts.
It's like a proud dad, isn't he? He's very
Like the
happy.
Pied Piper. Well, should we keep this going with the military and the pictures?
Yes.
Nev, is there like a neck? Yeah, caption this as military and a picture.
So Armando, what is go far away with this week's caption? This.
I just want to make sure we haven't lost Nev. Nev, are you still in there?
No, I'm thoroughly engaged, as you can imagine.
His wearable pulse oximeter has a heart rate of 49 right now.
I'm right out of it. So laid back.
All right, so let's see. This is our this week's caption. And let's see, for the audio guys, I can describe this as, well, there's a red light. It is on 6th Street. What city is unknown, but there is apparently an F-15 at the middle of an intersection somewhere in Georgia. I mean, it is coming out of a Chevy, Buick, GMC, Cadillac dealership. It is a 5-star dealership. But yeah, no kidding.
Covers everything. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an F-15 coming out. There's a police car behind it, or two. So maybe it's getting pulled over. And there is a KC-135 in the background. So there you go. That's the audio description.
Indeed.
Carlos, you want to take us to some of the captions for this week?
Yeah, we got some mega interest in this caption this week. And first one, kicking off with John, who says Gibraltar gets an unexpected... This is a good one for Nev, actually. Gibraltar gets an unexpected visitor when the senior air traffic controller at Gibraltar said they were going to deal with bird strikes by employing an eagle. This isn't what the public expected. Is that an eagle then? Is that an F-15?
Yeah, it's an F-15.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very good.
You want to go with the next one, Armando?
Yeah, James says, with soaring fuel prices, pilots are coming up with new ways of commuting to and from the airbase using government-funded fuel.
Quite right, absolutely. Yeah.
Nev?
Bernard says, Dad, pull over, I need to wee.
Dirk is saying, don't worry, they said. GPS is way more precise than the military, they said.
And some guy called
geezer,
Armando, geezer called Armando says the prize for the best float in the Christmas parade goes to the Georgia Air National Guard.
Very good.
Let's see. Paul says, should have turned left in Albuquerque.
I like that.
And Andrew says, turn right onto taxiway, Highway 59.
Chris says, I hate when the check engine light comes on. Guess I need to stop and call the club now for a tow. I just bought it and drove off the lot.
And Mr. Sturman says, sticking one up to the VTOL aircraft.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Lee says, sorry, mate, you can't park that there.
And Jonathan says, taking home your latest eBay bargain.
Yeah, that sounds like something. I was going to say that would be Carlos.
We know someone that might do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Matthew, not me, not that one. Amazing what you can buy at a used vehicle dealership these days.
I got some from the chat room.
Go on.
Yeah, Micah in the chat room says, heavy traffic today along the F-15.
I think that's my favourite, actually.
Possible.
Yeah, I think that's my favourite.
Richard Adams says, maybe it's lining up for a drag race.
Cool.
That would be one hell of a drag race.
Can you imagine? What kind of a drag race would that be? Oh,
Richard. I like Richard. Richard Adams.
Oh, yeah, you can read that one.
I think Nev should read Richard Adams' one.
Yes, I think he felt the need for weed rather than speed.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
It is legal in Georgia.
Right. Oh god. Well, there we go.
Oh my word.
That'll be why then.
So don't forget, for those of you who enjoy our caption this every week, check out our Facebook page. If you haven't already found us on Facebook, search for us Plain Talking UK. Give us a like and a follow on Facebook. And on Wednesday, we'll be popping up another caption this picture for you to comment on, which we'll read out and look at on next week's show on Friday. So thanks for everyone who tuned in. No, we don't. But actually, John just asked whether we put it on Twitter as well. No, we don't. We could put it on Twitter.
We should
as well, I
do.
suppose.
We should do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll work
So,
that out.
thanks to everyone who commented on this week's picture. Thank you very much indeed. So, Armando, we're going to stay with you for the next part of the show.
Oh man, I don't know if the show is centered on gin, Ryan Reynolds, or military this week. But let's keep it going. Matt, hit the button.
What's up, bogeys? 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 bogeys.
Oh, I gotta admit, I'm still so proud of our chat room. The Sea Dart. They got the Sea Dart so fast. What an odd aircraft. Anyways, from defensenews.com, a Leonardo jet trainer aircraft crashed in the Italian Alps, killing one, unfortunately. An M346 jet trainer aircraft was undergoing flight test by the manufacturer, Leonardo. It crashed in northern Italy, causing the death of one of the two pilots on board. Both pilots managed to eject from the aircraft before it crashed into a mountain, but one of them, a British civilian pilot, was actually succumbed to his injuries, while the other one, an Italian employee of Leonardo, survived with light injuries, according to the company. The aircraft, which was due for delivery to an export customer, took off from their facility in Venegano Superiore at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. In a statement, Leonardo said that the flight plan included trials aimed at demonstrating specific capabilities which had already been tested during several flights and already carried out in the past. It added that at 11:35 a.m., contact with the aircraft was lost. The aircraft actually crashed into Mount Legnone near Lake Como, prompting rescue services to search for the ejected pilots on the slopes of the mountain. According to Leonardo, the pilot who survived was a test pilot, while the British victim was an instructor pilot outsourced from an external company. They also issued a statement that said the Leonardo top management expressed their most heartfelt condolences for the loss of the pilot. Now, this aircraft was, all they said was that it's supposed to be an export aircraft to an overseas customer. And Leonardo signed a deal last year to sell 6 jets to Qatar, while Greece is also set to purchase 10 of them as part of a deal with Israel to set up its own flight school. Another 6 aircraft were ordered in a light fighter version by an unnamed overseas customer thought to be Turkmenistan. Similar story from Reuters.com. Taiwan grounded its Mirage fighter fleet after another jet crashed into the sea. This was from March 14th. Taiwan's aircraft, like I said, grounded the entire fleet of Mirage 2000s. It is the second combat aircraft loss in the space of 3 months. We did talk about the other one on the show, although this time the pilot was rescued. The Air Force said that the French-built aircraft took off just after 10 a.m. on a training mission from Chihang Air Base in the southeastern city of Taitung, and reported that it had to return after a mechanical problem. The pilot ended up ejecting over in the water south of the airbase and was rescued in safe and good condition by a helicopter. The Taiwanese Air Force Inspector General told reporters that the Mirage fleet would be grounded while an investigation was carried out. Taiwan received its first of 60 Mirage jets in 1997, though they have been upgraded several times since then. 6 in total have been lost to accidents. We talked about this on the show. In January, the Air Force suspended combat training for much of its larger F-16 fleet after a recently upgraded model of the fighter jet crashed into the sea, killing the pilot. And then, you can go back and listen to that story. But last year, 2 F-5s, we talked about that one too. F-5 fighters, also with the Taiwanese Air Force since the 1970s, crashed into the sea after they collided in a mid-air training mission, also from the same air base. So, yeah, lots of operations going on right now. They're, military operations, always dangerous operations. And as fleets tend to age, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So unfortunate, but it is part of the military aviation business
Story.
Yeah. Now this next story, Carlos, is yours. This is there's a video that goes along with this and some pictures. This was pretty interesting coming out of the Ukrainian conflict.
Yeah, there is. I watched a video to this actually earlier on today. It's a good, actually, a very good quality video. Actually, this one comes through from the BusinessInsider.com. Russia's released a video of a combat jet that was hit by a missile over the Ukraine and made it back to the base. Footage released by the Russian Ministry of Defense early on March the 14th this year proves once again how sturdy the Sukhoi Su-25 Frogfoot can be. The clip shows the aircraft taxiing with significant damage reportedly caused by a MANPADS, or man-portable air defense system, that hit the jet on the right-hand side of the fuselage. Indeed, the infrared homing missile usually hits the engine nacelles rear fuselage area where the temperature of the exhaust plume is higher, and the Su-25 is not new to such events. There are plenty of photos and stories that you can find online of Frogfoot aircraft that have survived direct hits of 9K-38 LGL-8 Stingers and other MANPADS during conflicts around the world. Anyway, today's image are a reminder of both of the impressive damage and tolerances of the Su-25 and the threat posed to Russian aircraft operating at medium and low altitude over the battlefields by MANPADS operated by the Ukraine forces. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion, at least 6 Su-25s have been confirmed lost in the Ukraine. Dealing with the most recent event, the Russian MOD posted a video that shows the extent of the damage to this Su-25 SM, that according to some sources was operating from an airfield in Belarus. There's also a brief account of the incident you can find roughly translated on the video. While performing a combat mission in the zone of a military operation, the Su-25 attack aircraft, which is second in the pair, was hit by a missile from a man-portable air defense system fired from the ground by servicemen of the armed forces of the Ukraine. The pilot of the damaged aircraft, assessing the situation, decided to turn off the damaged engine and not leave the aircraft. The pilot of the leading first plane, Lieutenant Colonel Denis Litinov, realizing that the comrade's plane could not withstand a second missile hit, covered it with his own aircraft. The pilot of the second aircraft visually detected the launch of the second missile and, firing off flares, managed to divert the missile to the side. During the landing approach, the pilot of the damaged Su-25 reported an avionics and control systems failure, but managed to land thanks to the assistance provided by the pilot covering him. The landing was uneventful, and thanks to the cold-blooded and skillful actions of the pilot, Denis Litinov, he managed to save the life of his friend and the combat aircraft. Both of the pilots are presented for state awards as well. It's safe to say that the damage on that aircraft was quite extensive from that missile, Armando. And you're on mute.
Yeah, the Su-25 is essentially the Russian equivalent of the A-10. It's designed to just, take a hammer and the just like the A-10, the pilot sits in a little armored tub, but the Su-25 specifically has about 1,100 kilograms of armor, titanium armor, and this airplane can fly, just like the A-10. Like we saw last year, we did a story on an A-10 pilot that lost both hydraulic systems, lost both engines, no gear landing, I think even lost the canopy or something like that. But these missiles, if you can imagine these missiles, both the Igla, which is like a SA-16, SA-18, up to a SA-24, and the Stinger missiles, they've got different, they're about the size of a dining room table, right? So that's about how long they are, and probably, round the size of a soccer ball in diameter. And these things have different ways of causing damage to an aircraft. Some of them are designed to hit the aircraft, then explode. Some of them are designed to track into the infrared signature of the heat coming from the engine and basically go right up the tailpipe. Other ones can kind of lead the airplane a little bit and try to hit the fuselage. Some of them have delayed fusing where it can hit the aircraft, basically create a big hole, go into it, and then explode. And then it's designed to not just explode with the warhead, but also detonate any remaining fuel that's in this basically dining room table size stick that's coming at you. So you can see in the pictures here that this aircraft, judging from the damage pattern, it either actually hit the aft section of the engine or did an airburst where some of the fragments probably took out the exhaust cone and hit the side of the aircraft. And there was another picture, a different angle, that showed the tail, the elevator of the airplane, the horizontal stabilizer, was actually completely like crooked and offset, which probably made maneuvering the aircraft a little bit difficult. But they got it back down on the ground. The pilot did that interview. Of course, the interview is propaganda, but it just goes to show, you don't get a lot of pictures like this nowadays of aircraft damage caused by something like an Igla or a Stinger missile.
Now, Armando, you've got the last story, all about the Marine F-35s.
Yeah, this not just F-35s, but this is F-35s, F-117s. Believe it or not, they're still flying. We've seen them. Do you remember when we did that a couple? I guess it was last year, where the first images were leaked of F-117 flying. But this story actually has every aircraft in the Marine Corps inventory. And this did come from the drive.com. Aviation assets from the U.S. Marine Corps' 3rd Marine Air Wing outside of San Diego conducted their annual Winter Fury exercise during the first few weeks of February. Winter Fury is the largest marine aviation exercise on the West Coast, and it allowed the 3rd Air Wing to execute its warfighting by testing and stressing some of these emerging concepts. As you can imagine, looking at the conflict over in Europe, they've probably made some adjustments as to how the scenario of the exercise goes. But pretty far removed from the counterinsurgency operations from the prior 2 decades. Winter Fury 22 is focused on I love this word, interoperability in a contested maritime environment against a modern peer state adversary. If you can imagine, that's probably code word for somebody like Russia. It showcased the Marine Corps' shift to getting ready for a possible confrontation both in Europe and the Pacific. This included F-35Bs flying against F-117 stealth fighter aggressors. They were using mock long-range strikes up in Washington State. They seized an airfield, making rapid runway repairs, other unique training events that have never seen before, at least not publicly. Looking at this, the 3rd Air Wing's area of operations is the Pacific. So looking at a map of the Indo-Pacific regions, you realize that U.S. bases on Guam and Okinawa are over 1,500 miles from some of the contested islands in the South China Sea. So training for long-range strikes becomes vitally important. So this exercise started off with 3 MV-22s flying to a snowy covered Grant County Municipal Airport in Moses Lake, Washington. Then from Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, just outside of San Diego, they secured the airfield, set up the perimeter. The F-35s came in. They did an 1,100-mile journey from Washington, which included aerial refueling from KC-130Js. They set up a FARP. A FARP is a forward area arming refueling point. So this is basically an austere location gas station and rearming point. They reloaded some air-to-air missiles and then headed out for local training missions before returning to Yuma that same day. Now, if you think about the geography of what I just said, they went from Washington State to San Diego out to Yuma, Arizona. That's a pretty big chunk of real estate here in the U.S. So all of this is exercising the Marines' expeditionary air advanced base operations. And like I was saying a little bit earlier, this article in the Drive went on and on, had a pretty good summary of the exercise, but it also included the MV-22s flying information with the UH-60s, and included Special Operations Forces, Joint Terminal Attack Controllers. Basically, everything in the Marine Corps inventory was poured into this Winter Fury 2022. I'm sure it was a aviation enthusiast and photographer's dream being out there, especially being able Matt put up a picture of F-35s flying in formation with F-117s. Pretty sure that's never happened. So pretty cool. Yeah. Alan White in the chat room says great photos. I agree. They're Department of Defense photos, but very, very cool. Interesting, the Marines aviation. We don't talk about marine aviation very much.
Thank you for that, Armando. Always good to have the stories in. I know it's Nev's favourite part of the show. He's there.
Can we
totally
know more?
Yeah.
Can we check his heart rate again?
He's there. He's there.
Wait, there's an empty bottle of Aviation Gin in the background.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
No, we had a little meet up this week, as we said at the top of the show. Me, Matt, and Nev. Nev came down to see us on Wednesday, and we got together, didn't we? And had a little drinky and a bite to eat,
Yeah, it was nice.
which was absolutely nice.
It's still a long way.
It is still a long way.
The funny thing is, it's only, I think it's 134 miles, but it's such a long 134 miles.
Agreed. Yeah.
You get to Bury St Edmunds, you think, oh, I'm nearly there, but you're not.
No.
It's another
You've
40
got
miles.
another 40. Do you know what it is? I think the biggest problem is I mean, we were saying actually at dinner, weren't we? It's like, the duelling of the A11 really did change Norfolk's life. Do you know what I mean? Because it became quite that. But as I say, especially if you're coming across from Bury St Edmunds, it's 45 minutes from Bury St Edmunds. The distance is very, very small, but of course the roads are horrendous. There's no other way of putting it, is it? Really?
Also, I had to go to Norwich as well, and I couldn't help noticing as I pulled into the McDonald's car park there, just off the roundabout, how many boy racer types there were with modified small hatchback cars and large exhausts.
Yes, but what you have to bear in mind, Nev, is that because it is a small community to which we live in, there isn't really a great deal of entertainment going around. And so one of the ways that we do that, and I have to confess, as someone who used to have a little Mark I Fiesta that was souped up beyond its means, it was a great way of passing several hours of event. It kept us amused for days, essentially.
No, it was eye-opening, I have to say, completely. But no, it was good to see you guys, and nice to get together.
Yeah, so we're planning on hopefully this year attending a few air shows. We had a good discussion on air shows and stuff for this year, and we're kind of in agreement within the group here in the UK that we're going to try and get to some of the more rural, local air shows, aren't we, around in and around the UK? But me and Nev will be off to the Jersey International Air Show on the 8th of September.
Yes,
yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's just an afternoon, isn't it, in fact?
Yeah.
So, but yes, taking the video gear with us and hoping to get some interviews and hoping to get some airside action as well. That show actually covers Guernsey as well. So the show itself is going to be out at Guernsey and then Jersey.
Yeah.
But looking forward to that. Very much
over in September. So, but we'll have more details as and when we decide where we're going to head off to throughout this year in the summertime. Because hopefully, if the weather we've had over the last few days is anything to go by, hopefully the summertime will be quite nice.
Adequate, I think is the word we're looking for. Adequate.
Very much so.
Indeed.
So, social media links, then we're going to start to wrap up the show for this week. But social media links, we're going to run through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for Plain Talking UK on there. Our WhatsApp number is +44 757 2249 If you want to send us a picture or an audio message or a video message, feedback, we love to hear some feedback from you guys and girls who listen to the show, because we do love some feedback. You can send that through on that number. You can also email us, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. If you want to send us an email, we'd love to hear from you there as well. And don't forget as well, our website, allthews.plaintalkinguk.com is where to go. You'll find on there more info about all the team on there, and also you'll see the links to the shows, the YouTube links as well. And also on our website is the link to Patreon as well, if you want to become a Patreon of the show and donate a small amount of pocket change, as we like to say. You can also use the PayPal link to make one-off donations as well to the show, which we all very much gratefully, it all helps to push the show forward each week when we come live to you. Also on there is our link to the shop where you can treat yourself to a PTUK t-shirt, which is a glorious cotton t-shirt with embroidered PTUK logo on the front with print on the back. And you can also get yourself a PTUK mug, which you can use to drink tea, coffee, or even aviation gin, if you wish to.
Okay.
And so all the links are on our website.
Actually, you say that, we're talking about merchandising there. Out of the blue, I've had communications from 2 people this week who've expressed an interest in a baseball cap.
Oh, blimey.
And one other person also mentioned that we need to hurry up and make the military mug that we keep promising that we're going to do. So, we need to try and squeeze that into our schedules at some point as well. Absolutely.
Mugs.
Well, we do have, as I say, and also we need to name our little characters, don't we, really? I think we need to...
Yes, we're going to put our heads together. We're going to get a competition put together.
Absolutely.
To name our mascots for the...
the military one... Oh, apparently the military one does have a name.
Oh, the military one does. But our main PTUK logo doesn't have a name yet.
No, that's true.
No.
That's true.
Hmm.
Okay. Anyway,
so
I digress
before we all head off back
into the sunset,
the sunset, quick round robin of what's going on with the team this week, and we'll start with Mr. Bones.
Oh, yes. Well, next week I'm off to Edinburgh for a couple of days on business. And whilst I'm there, I'm going to have the pleasure of meeting up with Logan Lynch and his wife, which is absolutely fantastic. I think Logan has had to get a passport. I don't think he's ever had a passport before, from what I understand. So he's coming over. He's actually going to be in London, I think, early part of this week, and then he's going to Edinburgh. So I was able to synchronise some customer visits and see him for dinner in the evening with his wife. So really looking forward to that, and some Terminal 5 bacon rolls.
Oh, right.
Coffee.
Bacon
Slumming
rolls.
it in the lounge.
Yes.
In the lounge.
How will you cope?
And Mr. Smith, what are you doing this week?
Not a lot, really. Not a lot, I don't think. Busy old weekend ahead, I think. Mostly preparing for a live. Yes, we need to remember. I need to remind. I'm not here next week, by the way, Carlos. So we need to bear that in mind. You need to come and press buttons in the studio next week.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a treat for everyone. Yes, lots of editing. Just bear that in mind, John.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
But that'll be fine. Yes, because we've got a sort of like a bit of a leaving do for somebody who's our manager, who's been a manager for a long time. We're all going out for a meal, basically. So one I can't really.
Sounds hideous.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be horrendous. Yeah, in a very, very famous place in Norwich for a bite to eat. So looking forward to that. But that's probably the highlight. Really, as I say, busy weekend. Other than that, Carlos, what are you up to?
What I'm up to next week? Well, I mean, my week is just so filled with excitement. No, it is actually filled with excitement because
okay,
it is filled with excitement because I am very lucky in that I do get to see quite a lot of aviation fun during my days, albeit if I'm at work at our base where the aircraft, as I said before, the Apaches, the C-130s and the Ospreys tend to use our airfield as a staging ground, I think, for something. And also obviously when I go to my other pick-up and delivery point over at Beccles is right across the field from Ella, where I started learning to fly. So it's all very exciting. I must take my camera with me one day because I do miss some.
You
shots,
should absolutely.
But yes, that's about it really for next week. Hopefully the weather will be nice as well. But Mr. Armando, what's going on in the world of? I mean, you're obviously going to be flying somewhere.
Believe it or not, no. I've got all of next week off.
What? Who authorized this?
We're moving house next week.
Yes,
so,
of course,
yeah, so we've got a new house closer to the city of Charlotte, and we will be in the height of moving. So I will also not be here next Friday. We've got some appointments that day, but exciting. I'm going to have my own office with my own recording studio.
Very exciting.
Sim room?
exciting.
Maybe a sim. Yeah. It's going to be my own space. Right now I share my office space with Megan, and she limits the amount of aviation paraphernalia that goes into that room. So
Right. Okay.
Are you listening to this, dear? Own room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carlos, you're going to have to buy a bigger house if you want your own room.
Just
That's-
saying.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Don't. As I say,
Yeah.
otherwise, she'll come and put the shopping in your room.
I better shut up.
angrily. Yes, absolutely.
I better shut up.
So as penance, though, I like Richard Adams says, Nev is going to do all of the military news
Yep,
next week.
absolutely. All of it.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
That's going to be a short episode then, isn't it?
Right.
Just
Sure.
the credits.
Yeah.
Just the credits. That's it.
Okay. Well, no, that sounds good. Sounds
excellent.
like fun, doesn't it?
I know.
You know, never mind.
So we're going to say a big thanks to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. Loads of people in there today. All the awesome family members in the chat room tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us in there, taking time out of your Friday evening. And let's not forget as well, guys and girls, our awesome people who download the show each week as an audio podcast. Thank you to you all very much indeed for downloading the show and supporting us as you do.
Sorry, I'm laughing. I shouldn't do this. This is terribly unprofessional of me. But
You're
John,
not on the radio now.
No,
Steve.
I know. But John has updated the artwork, and I feel I need to share it with the main audience
Oh, no.
in case they miss it.
Oh, bloody.
Oh, I'm loving it. Oh, I'm loving it. We've got the Aviation Gin.
my
We've got
word.
Ryan Reynolds. We've got Armando. I mean, it's award winning. Anyway, sorry. Do
I
carry
mean, there's a
on,
lot
Carl.
going on there.
There is,
Anyway,
absolutely.
There is a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there is, absolutely. Indeed. Keep everyone
I hope
busy.
you all
Yeah.
have enjoyed the show as much as we have. And that's it then for episode 403 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. Thanks, everyone, again. Take care. From me, Carlos, here in my home studio, from Matt in the PTUK Master Suite studios, from Nev in his glorious Buckinghamshire studios, and from Armando in his remote location. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend, and see you next Friday.
Bye-bye, everyone. Oh. I don't know what happened there.
No, the credits are rolling.
Yeah, there's no sound. There should have been sound. There was no sound going out on the thing. Hang on a minute. I think I know what it was.
Oh, should we do the music? Let's go. Do 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 do
No,
do
no,
do
no, no,
do
no
do.
need. No, it's all right. I'll fix it in post. Don't worry. Here we go.